perfect bowl of an alternative to standard spaghetti. Delicious. Okay, so the original recipe for this was written by a guy named Robbie Melvin, titled Capellini with sausage, spinach, and jalapeno. It's not anywhere online, I just have a print copy of it, and I've just outlined my variation here. This is why it's not linked below, just because it's not online. So there's a few primary changes. Instead of using just any random sausage, I recommend using cured sausage like Genoa, chorizo, etc. I increased the number of onions. Garlic's about the same, jalapenos are about the same. Tomatoes, I personally use like home canned tomatoes. And then instead of using spinach, I personally use arugula. You can use whatever leafy green that you want. And then for the actual pasta that goes with it, 125 grams of pasta per person. The rest of the ingredients are just to taste or topping wise. Overall, it's just a relatively simple recipe and very straightforward. Not much needs to be changed, it's just an inherently good recipe. Okay, so first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to add oil to your pan. Just a smidgen. Also add a bit of water. Put it over relatively high heat. Okay, you want to take your sausage, remove the casing. Cut your sausage into quarters. And cut relatively, or like reasonable chunks, not too thick, not too thin. Now that that's done, you can transfer it to your heated pan. Make sure it lies as flat as possible. You can cut your sausage smaller, but I like mine relatively large. Allow that to cook. Now you're also going to do an onion. You're just going to hold on to that for now. You're also going to do 3 cloves of garlic. See as you check on the sausage. Now, the garlic you're just going to want to slice. Sausage is almost done. Sometimes it spits up and you get burned. Unfortunate. Keep that in mind, put the lid back on. There's no more water to evaporate. Now you're also going to want to do your 3 jalapenos. Or just do 2 big ones, doesn't really matter. I'm going to do the 2 big ones instead of 3 small. Give them a quick rinse. You can use gloves while doing this, or not, but if you don't, just try not to rub your eyes or anything, any other mucous membranes in your body, for probably at least like 5 hours. Now, I prefer to keep all the seeds. It's your choice whether you do or not. This is a jalapeno, so it is kind of bitter. Keep that in mind. However, if your tomatoes are sweet, it should offset. So, give the sausage a quick stir. Leave it one last time to crisp up. Because the sausage is thick, the interior should still be soft even if the outside is crunchy. It's a very nice texture. Take your jalapenos, put them in with onions. You don't have to get all the seeds and everything. It's dealer's choice. The seeds are bitter, but they do contain some heat. Give your hands a quick rinse right after. Keep it from adhering, at least more than it has to. Sausage should be done at this point, so you're going to take it off the heat. The hot oil will remain on the surface of the sausage, meaning that the exterior should continue to cook even once you've taken it off the heat. Not for long, but for enough time to crisp it up further. In the drippings, you're going to add 2 of the ingredients that you had just chopped, the jalapeno peppers and the onions. These will be allowed to brown up in the pan. And of course, turn the heat back on. Now, the fumes from this can be very strong. I would recommend putting a lid on it and maybe turning on a fan if you don't have good ventilation. You'll probably cough if you breathe it in directly. Not the best, but it does taste good. In the meantime, you're going to take a jar, what I would estimate to be about 2 pounds of tomatoes. I'm using home canned tomatoes. You can get your tomatoes from elsewhere, it doesn't really matter. You can use whole tomatoes if you really want, canned. You can buy them from the grocery store as is, doesn't really matter. Canned at home do taste better though. So, we gotta do hickey to open the can. You always want to check. I did before this, but just to make sure it's not gonna poison you. You want to hear a nice sucking noise when you open it. Oh, smells fine as well. Not that you can smell botulism really, but... Okay. So, this is about 900 grams, or just about 2 pounds. So we're good here. Now, you got a couple options. You can either use a sort of masher to do things, or you can also opt to use an immersion blender. I'm going to start with the masher and then go to immersion. Take a moment here and stir the pot. Things are starting to soften up. Not yet brown, but they're starting to soften up. Which is exactly what we want to see here. Just going to keep mashing until most of the big chunks remain small. You can also use a fork for this by crushing the tomatoes up against the bowl walls. Alright, so this is pretty good. It's about the texture you want. You're going to add salt to it. About a teaspoon. I recommend using measuring stuff if you want to do it. Side heel. Then you're also going to add about a teaspoon of pepper. These measurements are not important. It's really about as much as you feel that you want in your dish. You can also forego the pepper. I'm going to transfer the garlic to the pot. It's probably about the time. Yep, everything's very soft. You don't want to burn your garlic, so you transfer it late. As I said, the fumes are quite strong. Put the lid back and let it continue cooking. So at this point, everything's been browned up pretty nicely. Not burnt, but very much browned up. You're going to want to add your tomatoes at this point. Free up any fond from the pan that's started to stick. Once again, you want to be pretty careful not to breathe too much in, as it does not feel truly incredible. I missed a bit of the pan, so I'll have to clean that up later, just the way it is. At the same time, you're also going to add in your sausage. At this point, you're just going to let it simmer. Make sure everything's mixed in really, really well. Turn down the heat a bit and just let it simmer for quite a while. You want the solution to not become a paste, but relatively thick. Okay, so it's been about 20 minutes, and this has been just slowly cooking. It's almost now just starting to stick to the pan here. But you can see it's turned into like a very nice fine paste. It'll stick better to noodles this way. It won't be more of a soup. So this fixes a bit of the texture issue here. So we're going to turn that down really low for the meanwhile. And we're going to prep the water for the noodles. take the pot, fill it up a few inches. So you're gonna fill your pot with about this much water. And for this particular recipe, you're gonna use about 450 grams or so of pasta. But for now, we're just gonna do the water. As always, you're gonna add a very healthy amount of salt. This gets strained off, so it is fine. My hands are very clean, do not worry. Plus, this water is getting boiled and it has salt in it. Okay, you don't want that on high. Put a lid on it so it boils quicker. So as of now, this is the perfect consistency. But you want this to be not dry, but not too much excess water, because the leafy greens are going to add a fair amount. Okay, shortly after you get your water on the stove, your mixture should look like this. Very much relatively dry, almost a paste. And to this paste, you're going to add your leafy green. In this case, I do arugula. It's been washed prior, so I don't need to rewash it. And I add the entire container. The recipe calls for about 3 cups. I'm going to do more than that because I like vegetables in this one particular dish. You turn your heat back up, put the lid on, and you're going to allow the heat to reduce the volume of the leafy greens. The reason you pulled all the water out is so that the leafy greens can add more water back in. Once your water has come to a boil, you can add about 450 grams worth of pasta. I've got 500 grams of spaghetti here. So I will add the entirety to the pot. This is not the brand of spaghetti I normally use, so I have no idea how quickly it's going to cook anymore. But I'm hoping it's about the same time. I normally use the no name or the blue bag, whatever that is. Okay, so the noodles are just about done. You're going to want to take a little bit of the water, just a little bit. Actually, we do a little more than that. And add it to your pasta. Oopsies. Just to give it a little bit of juice, just in case it's dried out while you're waiting for your pasta. This is the perfect consistency right here. Very thick, very good, very concentrated flavor. Double check the pasta one last time. Yep, the pasta's perfect. So we'll take it off heat. Strain it. Unfortunately, I can't see. Such is life. And then we're going to reintroduce it back to the pot. Add a pat of butter. Oh. Hands are clean, don't worry. Just going to mix that in. Make sure the noodles don't stick to each other. So we're going to take some of our noodles here. We're going to take some of our sauce. And we're going to take a bit of the Parmesan. Perfect bowl of an alternative to standard spaghetti. Delicious.